So the Arctic Monkeys are like easily my favorite band ever. I don't know what it is, there's just something about them, like no matter what they do, they just envelop me in their juices. I should not have the right to free speech. So this being the first video on my channel, I thought why not immediately get people to hate me? And rank all the Arctic Monkeys albums worst to best. That definitely won't cause controversy. But yeah, I feel the need to clarify, this is just my opinion. Your opinion is probably different to mine, and that's okay. It's okay to be wrong. But, you know, feel free to let me know your opinions on all the Arctic Monkeys albums in the comments, and let's just jump into it. So at number 7, we have Suck It and See. I don't know what it is about this album. I don't dislike it by any means, but you know, unfortunately, I kind of have to pick a least favorite, and I guess that would be Suck It and See. I don't know, I've given this album multiple tries. It's just never really clicked with me, you know? There are things I like about it. As always, Alex Turner's lyricism is amazing. It's got some nice instrumentals with some unique chord progressions, and Love is a Laser Quest is a personal highlight, as I do tend to really like the Arctic Monkeys' more melancholic songs. But yeah, when I give this album a listen, nothing particularly jumps out at me. Maybe it's due to the fact that there's little to no like effects added on in the recordings. It does make the music sound kind of bland and generic. I'm not trying to say having no effects is a bad thing. That can be a really good thing if done right. But in this album, it more just makes me feel like I'm just at a concert, but without like the whole vibe and atmosphere of a concert. So I just never really feel hooked in. And no, I'm not going to do a brick by brick joke. I'm not stooping that low. So yeah, Suck It and See. I'm sure it has its cult of die-hard fans. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. It's an alright album, but not one I ever rush to go back to. Okay, this is going to be a painful one. Number 6, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Now I definitely know I've divided the audience with this one, but hear me out. To be clear, I don't dislike this album. I like it. It's got many elements that I really like, and I really want to like it more than I do. I've given it so many tries, especially more recently. Admittedly, it has been kind of growing on me more recently, but I don't know, I really want to like it, because I know it's a great album. And it does have some good songs, like Star Treatment is a pretty slept on track if you ask me, and the Ultra Cheese is a brilliant final song. But I don't know, most of the songs in between, I just struggle to get them. But there is so much I like about this album. Like the fact that they made this album, especially given the success of their previous album, like that's admirable enough. Apparently the album took a lot of inspiration from David Bowie. Personally, David Bowie is one of my favorite artists, and you can definitely hear the inspiration, especially in the Ultra Cheese, which once again is a personal highlight. But yeah, I know this album has its die-hard fans, and it's got some songs I enjoy, but unfortunately, I've just never really got it, and I've really tried. But yeah, as I said, it has admittedly been growing on me more recently, so maybe in the future I will be a Tranquility Base diehard fan. Alright, if Tranquility Base at number 6 wasn't enough to divide the fan base, number 5 is AM. AM seems like another pretty divisive album in the Arctic Monkeys community. Like, there's people who love it, and then there's people who say anyone who loves it is a filthy casual mainstream music listener. And you know, I like the album, and I can definitely see why it's the most successful one. A pretty common complaint I see about AM is that the songs are a bit samey, and I definitely get that. They can be kind of samey at times. The album starts off pretty strong. Do I Wanna Know is great. Are You Mine is probably my favorite from the album. I know One for the Road isn't that popular among fans, but personally I like it. And Arabella's also pretty good. But then after that, I feel like the album starts losing its steam a little bit, and none of the midway songs particularly stand out to me. But then it makes a bit of a comeback with Why'd You Wanna Call Me When You're High, but then in my opinion it kind of loses it again, with the last 3 songs just not really being all that standout-ish in my opinion. I mean, I know I Wanna Be Yours is really popular. Apparently it's like really popular on TikTok, I think. And while it's far from my favorite Arctic Monkeys song, or even far from my favorite on this album, it's nice that other people are enjoying it, and you know, other people are getting exposed to Arctic Monkeys. So yeah, overall a good album. It has some really good standout songs. It's just not one I'm particularly invested in trying to listen to the whole way through. But, you know, once again, I can see why it's as popular as it is. Overall, it's still a solid album. Alright, at number 4 is The Car. Yeah, I like The Car. Shoot me. Please don't actually shoot me. So The Car is currently the Arctic Monkeys' newest album, and it is a bit divisive amongst fans. Some people love it, some people hate it, and I understand a lot of the arguments from both sides. But yeah, personally, I just find a lot of the songs on here just nice. I mean, The Better Be a Mirrorball is a great start. I honestly really like it, especially towards the end when it really starts building up. I ain't quite where I think I am. I don't know what it is. Something about this song just tickles my brain in the right way. I don't know how to describe it, but I just like it. 2 songs from this album that I really like in a kind of weird way are Body Paint and The Car. I don't know what it is. I like these songs, but I feel like they're missing something. Body Paint is brilliant. It gives me Bohemian Rhapsody vibes. It's honestly just great, but I don't know. I feel like there's something missing from it, and I don't know what. There's just something missing from it to turn it into a modern day Bohemian Rhapsody. And The Car, similar thing. I like the song, but I feel like there could have been more to it, you know? That's honestly like my main criticism with this album. I like it, it's good, it's got great elements to it, I feel like there could have been more to it though. Another thing about this album, and also Tranquility Base, that isn't so much a criticism, it's just that I feel like Matt doesn't shine as a drummer as much as he used to. Like in the earlier Arctic Monkeys albums, Matt absolutely kills it on the drums, honestly. He does a great job. But in the two newest albums, the drums they're not quite as, oof. You know what I mean. And I mean, it makes sense given the tone of the two newest albums. It's not so much a criticism. It's more just, it's a bit of a shame, but oh well, it makes sense. But yeah, to sum up this album, I don't think anyone really had any idea where the Arctic Monkeys were going next after Tranquility Base. And while the car does have its haters, personally, I just like it. Alright, on to the top 3. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, the top 3 are just the first 3 albums. Or you only care about early Arctic Monkeys. You think they suck now. No. Now, I feel like I'm going to really ruffle some feathers with the order in which I put these top 3 albums. So, brace for impact, because number 3 is whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. Okay, just to be clear, I absolutely adore these 3 albums, and it's incredibly hard for me to rank them all in order. And just because I only put this album at number 3 doesn't mean I don't consider it an absolute masterpiece. Because it is. Honestly, I would genuinely call it one of the best opening albums of any rock band. Like, it starts out with the absolute banger that is The View from the Afternoon. I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor is just a classic. Fake Tales of San Francisco is just amazing and contains one of my favorite song lyrics ever. Admittedly, in songs 4 to 6, the album kinda loses steam a little bit. It's nothing major, and it doesn't make these songs skips in any way. There is a slight lull point in the album. But then with Riot Van, things really start picking up again. Perhaps Vampires is a bit strong, but is a personal highlight for me. I think it's a criminally underrated song. Then there's When the Sun Goes Down, which, obviously everyone knows. It's a classic. From the Rich to the Rubble is another great one. And of course, the album ends with A Certain Romance, which is just the best ending they possibly could have come up with. But yeah, the whole album is just incredibly solid all the way through. It's incredibly relatable, and there's a reason it's such an iconic part of British culture. And I just love this album. It's one I'll happily listen to all the way through. Alright, at number 2 is Favorite Worst Nightmare. So now we're on to their second album. I mean, to be honest, their first album was really hard to top, but my god, they did it, and they did it really well. Favorite Worst Nightmare just feels like such a great continuation of the first album. I feel like it strikes just the right amount of different yet familiar. And once again, it's just absolutely full of bangers. Brian Storm's a great opener, Teddy Picker goes incredibly hard and has one of the Arctic Monkeys' best solos. D's for Dangerous is another great one, although I do kind of wish it was called Favorite Worst Nightmare, but oh well. Balaclava's another really solid one. Fluorescent Adolescent is just amazing. Genuinely some of the Arctic Monkeys' best work. I love that song to bits. Same with Only Ones Who Know. As I said earlier, I really love the Arctic Monkeys' more melancholic songs, and this song is a really big reason why. It's just so good, man. And then not only that, it's followed up with Do Me a Favor, which I think is some of Alex Turner's best work lyrically. I'm incredibly torn between this song or Fluorescent Adolescent being my favourite from this album, but I don't know, both are just amazing. Then there's This House is a Circus and If You Were There We Were, which are both just incredibly solid songs. I really like them. I know opinions on The Bad Thing in this fandom are kinda mixed. I don't dislike it as much as everyone else does. It is definitely the weakest song on the album, but it's not a bad one. But if I had to pick a song from this album to skip, it would be The Bad Thing. Then there's Old Yellow Bricks, which is just another great song, and then it ends with 505. Who doesn't love 505? I don't know what it is about that song. There's just something about it that just captivates me the whole way through. I just ascend listening to it, honestly. But yeah, as a whole, I just really enjoy Favorite Worst Nightmare. It's such a good album. Another one I'll happily listen to all the way through. I think considering the amazing album they had to follow on from, they did an amazing job. And to be honest, I only very ever so slightly prefer it over whatever people say. But that's a compliment, honestly, because they're both amazing. Alright, r/Arctic Monkeys Circle Jerk are gonna love me for this one. Number 1 is Humbug. Yeah, you probably saw this one coming. Humbug just has this cult following in the Arctic Monkeys community of people who just absolutely love it and think it's the most underrated thing ever. And I'm completely unashamed to say that I'm one of those people. I worship this album. This is me with my Humbug poster every morning. If you look past the cult following that the album has, in general, Humbug's kind of a divisive album, but I just absolutely love it. It's got some of the Arctic Monkeys' best work, and genuinely just some of my favorite songs of all time. My Propeller is just a brilliant opening, no matter what you think the song's actually about. There's no denying it's a great opener. And like a lot of Arctic Monkeys songs, it gives me major James Bond vibes, which I'm completely fine with. Crying Lightning is just crying lightning. What more am I meant to say? It's just amazing. Even if the solo is really difficult to play on guitar. With Dangerous Animals, they really ramped up the whole garage desert rock kind of thing, and it works really well. Then The Secret Door. But yeah, genuinely, this song is just amazing. To be honest, there are times, especially at the beginning and the end, where it kind of gives me Beatles vibes, in a strange way. Then there's Potion Approaching, which is definitely the weakest song on the album. It's alright, but unlike all the other songs on here, it just doesn't really stand out to me, and if I had to pick a song to skip, it would be Potion Approaching. Then there's Fire in the Thud, which I really like, and I think is genuinely quite an underrated song. It's another one that gives me like major Bond vibes. And then there's Cornerstone. Genuinely, what am I supposed to say? It's Cornerstone. I know this song's a pretty big meme in the community, but I genuinely adore this song. It's so good. It's easily in like my top 3 favorite Arctic Monkeys songs, just full stop. And then there's Dance Little Liar, which is another song I really like. There are times where the lyrics are a bit not up to Alex Turner's usual standard, but other than that, I really like it. Then you've got Pretty Visitors, which I just really love. It's got some great effects and sounds added onto it, like the sort of fairground carnival sounds, I guess you could call them. And I mean, if you can memorize the lyrics to this song, you are the true rap god. And then finally, The Jeweler's Hands. Genuinely, in my opinion, Arctic Monkeys' most underrated song. I love this song to bits. I don't know what it is about it. I just love it so much. I ascend every time I listen to it. It never gets old. It's just got such like a brilliant balance of all the aspects of this album. Like, it's got a perfect balance of the garage rock, desert rock. It's got a perfect eerie vibe, similar to Fire in the Third and Pretty Visitors. I could go on about Humbug all day. I just love this album to bits. I genuinely sound like an r/am circle jerk user, I know, but I just genuinely love this album. And once again, I know it's a meme to say this, but it's criminally underrated. But yeah, those are the Arctic Monkeys albums ranked worst to best. Do you agree? Awesome. Do you disagree? Then feel free to rip into me in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching, fellow brick lovers. But yeah, those are the Arctic Monkeys albums wanked. Cut.